Hello and welcome back to Norrin Reads. In this episode, I will be reviewing Silver Surfer number 9 from the 1987 series. This issue was written by Steve Englehart, penciled and colored by Marshall Rogers, and inked by Joe Rubinstein. This issue begins with the gathering of the Elders. They are discussing the fact that the Surfer has taken the Soul Gem from the Supreme Intelligence. He doesn't realize that with all 6 Soul Gems, they could destroy Galactus, so he doesn't realize the significance of what he's done. In previous issues, the Elders had captured Mantis, and in the last issue, they successfully captured Shala-Bal, so they have them in custody, and they are going to use them as leverage to get the Soul Gem from the Silver Surfer. There is brief concern that the Kree will be after the Surfer, and thusly after the Elders in order to get the Soul Gem back, but the Contemplator ensures his brothers that once the Supreme Intelligence lost the Soul Gem, he went insane because of the blue and pink Krees within his mind fighting each other, so he is no longer in control of the Kree Empire. He tells them that Nenora, the Supremor's chief coordinator, has assumed command, and we'll see how that works out. The Collector notes that both sides have lost their most valuable asset, the Skrull having lost their shape-changing ability, and now the Kree having lost the Supreme Intelligence. While they're having this discussion, the Possessor begins to laugh. They ask him what he finds so funny, and he points out the fact that the chief coordinator of the Kree Empire is in fact a Skrull. They ask him if he's sure, and he says essentially, well, I've spent 5.5 billion years to possess knowledge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. The Runner chimes in and laments that it's too bad that they're going to destroy reality because this Kree and Skrull war is getting pretty interesting. Meanwhile, the Surfer, who is now in possession of the Soul Gem, is on his way back to Earth to save Mantis because in previous issues she went there to spy on the Elders and she was captured by them. He deduces that it was likely the Gardener who captured her, and he's thinking about her and her soft and supple form. He's obviously still very attracted to her. He thinks about the fact that him and his board are made by Galactus and they can triumph over most foes, but the Elders are quite formidable. While he's thinking this, suddenly the Gardener appears before him in space. The Gardener informs Surfer that the Elders now have possession of Mantis and Shala-Bal, and if he wants to see them again, he needs to bring them the Soul Gem. The Surfer jumps through hyperspace, arriving where the Elders have Mantis and Shala-Bal. They are hovering nearby, trapped within this pink sphere of energy. When he gets there, the champion is amazed at how fast he arrived, and the astronomer informs him that hyperspace brings those with access to it close to everything. And the Contemplator greets the Surfer, and he kind of laments that they're not allies because he has respect for the Surfer. The trader, of course, jumps in because he's got business to do. He says, today we have to make a trade. The gem for the women. Mantis quickly pipes up, telling Norrin, no, you can't do this, because if they have all 6 gems, they will have the power to destroy Galactus, just like the Obliterator told us. And now the Elders have information about what happened to the Obliterator. They were in the dark as to what happened to him until now. Shala-Bal also jumps in, explaining that she's spent more time than she would care for with Surfer's new friend, and she can see why she's more charming than her, but they both have to be sacrificed. Neither of them are bigger than reality. He has to give both of them up in order to save reality. The Surfer is obviously reluctant to sacrifice these women, so he tries to catch them, but the Gardener is controlling this energy sphere that they are in with his mind, so they are moving at the speed of thought, so the Surfer cannot catch them. Finally, the Surfer agrees and he says, here, take your gem, and he throws it down, much to the surprise and shock of Mantis and Shala-Bal. As soon as he throws down the gem, the Gardener sends Mantis and Shala-Bal flying off into space, and the Surfer zooms after him to catch them. While the Surfer is in pursuit of this sphere, the Grand Master explains that the Surfer will push himself to new limits to catch this sphere, and he will catch it, but when he touches it, it will explode in his face. But the Elders do not realize the true speed of the Silver Surfer, while we do. It was shown to us very clearly in the first issue of this series when he saved Nova, Frankie Ray, from the Skrull's prison. The Surfer is able to reach the sphere, and within 1 second he is able to escape the explosion. However, he realizes quickly that he was only able to save Shala-Bal. Mantis is nowhere to be seen. Shala-Bal explains that Mantis tried to transfer her consciousness again, so much so that she almost provoked herself into a stroke, but she couldn't do it because of the Gardener. He was keeping her there. Shala-Bal admits that she could not like Mantis, but she understands that Norrin loved her. The Surfer silences Shala, and he begins to speak about love and the nature of Zenlavian love and how cold it is compared to Earth love. He explains that he's only seen Shala 4 times since he's left Zenla, and they call that love. Shala's response is, that's what love was for us. And the surfer goes on to say as much as he hated being trapped on Earth, he learned to appreciate Earth people's passion and their vitality. He speaks about Mantis being the celestial Madonna of Earth because she was an exemplar of Earth, and Shala-Bal had previously referenced her charms as obvious, and they would be compared to what the Zenlavians have as their love and their charms. So the surfer loved her, and after he gets Shala-Bal to a safe place, he will enact his revenge. Meanwhile, Nova is looking for a new planet for her master to devour, but the one she's found is not quite ready. It doesn't have the essential energies to feed Galactus. While she's looking, she sees her signal to Galactus in the distance, this glowing circle of energy, and she realizes that Galactus will be going towards that signal because that's her signal to him that she's found a planet. So she realizes something's amiss and she flies towards that signal. She arrives to find Galactus in the presence of the elders. She quickly explains that she didn't send the signal and she didn't know who did. Galactus explains to Nova who the elders are and the fact that second to him, they are the oldest beings in this reality. The elders respond with threats, telling Galactus he is as old as he will ever be and that this reality is as old as it will ever be. Galactus thinks that the elders have gone mad, and his response is that this reality is infinitely expanding and will continue infinitely expanding forever. He says, "For I alone know death and eternity as brothers in being. I know, for I am Galactus." To which the elders respond, "Nevertheless, there exists in this realm power to crush even you if one knows where to find it." It's revealed that this satellite they've been standing on is surrounded by 6 planets, and there's this energy force connected to this satellite from all these 6 planets, and they set it off and this huge beam shoots through space and hits Galactus. They explain that they are using the power of the soul gems to resonate the power of these 6 planets, and they are essentially using them to drain Galactus of his life force. Where he has used planets to sustain him, they've reversed this process, and they are using these planets to draw his life from him. Nova quickly rushes to Galactus' side, and he says, "Useless herald, I knew what the gems were, but in all the millennia, only Thanos ever gathered them, and he knew." Nova throws her body in front of the beam but is heavily damaged. The Grandmaster shouts at Nova, saying that she has no power over something that could drain the life from Galactus. He continues to explain that this energy is so powerful that it will actually bring these dead planets they're using back to life, and it will be a fitting end to this reality. These planets will be brought back to life, and all reality will cease to exist. The Silver Surfer arrives and he flies in this corkscrew pattern down the beam, reflecting it away from Galactus. He tells Nova he can protect Galactus, but she needs to destroy these 6 planets. She says she can't because they're engulfed in that energy. The Surfer is sort of taken aback because he realizes that Nova's sort of a rookie when it comes to space compared to him. He then tells her to destroy the sun that holds them in place, and that will rekindle her. Nova does as the Surfer says. She flies into the sun and it begins to go supernova, and it quickly begins collapsing into a black hole. It begins pulling everything in, the planets, the elders, the Surfer, and Nova. While Galactus is weakened, he's able to reach the controls of his ship, allowing him to escape the pull of the black hole. While they're being pulled in, the Grandmaster shouts at the Surfer, explaining that the elders will survive being pulled into this black hole, but he won't. The Surfer replies saying he will escape this if he can, but if he does not, he will make sure that the elders suffer his fate. He has spent his lifetime protecting life in this reality, so to die protecting its life would be a fitting end. Nova hears the Surfer say this and thinks, I guess he's not the jerk I thought he was. Meanwhile, Galactus is regaining his energy through this event, and he's refilling his reserves and gaining his strength. As Surfer, Nova, and the elders all tumble into this black hole, this yellow energy net envelops them and begins to pull them out of it. As Galactus says, "And now, Nats, now we shall have a reckoning." Next. This was a very fulfilling issue of Silver Surfer. We got to see the Elders' plan come to fruition, though it did not go the way they wanted it to. It was nice to see that finally happen. I enjoyed the contrast of this episode, because there's this grand cosmic scheme happening with the Elders trying to destroy Galactus, and in this there is this sort of petty romance drama between Norrin and Shala-Bal and Mantis. It just goes to show that even in the face of a reality being destroyed, these human emotions are very strong and they are hard to repress. I'm interested to see which path this Kree-Skrull war takes now that the Supreme Intelligence is out of commission, and Nenora, the Skrull, is now in charge of the Kree Empire, so we'll see where that goes. I'm also curious to see if Mantis is truly dead or if this was another fake out. I enjoy Mantis, so I hope she's alive, but at the same time, if she keeps dying and coming back, it begins to lose importance. Galactus mentions Thanos in the previous time he collected the gems, and he knew, is what Galactus said. This is a great reference to the past, and I don't know how far ahead Marvel plans out their story arcs, but we all know where this is headed, so it's interesting to see that reference now. I don't know if that was totally planned. Either way, I like it. Overall, I feel like this was a tight issue and it really pressed the story forward. I'm happy to keep trucking along and I hope you're all enjoying this series. I want to thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you out there on the cosmic spaceways.